Hello, everybody. We are back for day 2 of the election analysis stream. I did leave day 1 up on my channel, which is a first because I've never left a stream up on my channel, but I decided to leave it up. This one I might leave up as well. And we're going to see exactly how it comes down. But either way, we've got, we've counted a lot of votes and we've gotten a lot of things right so far. But some things are also not going the way that we would have wanted them to go. So we'll just have to monitor. I'm here. I'm joined with my co-host David from the DC perspective is also here.
Hey, how you doing?
Yes, as we monitor the results coming in out of 5 states. We're supposed to get a dump out of Arizona soon. That has not been called yet on the New York Times, even though Fox has called Arizona. We think that it's too early, and even Nate Silver, of all people, thinks it's too early. That's not denialism. Arizona, it could go to Biden, but it shouldn't be called right now. There are still many votes outstanding which are expected to break to Trump by around 19%. Just because they are mail-in votes does not mean that they are necessarily going to break for the Democrats because of when the votes came in. If you look at how they were coming in last night, they were coming in heavily in favor of Donald Trump. Biden jumped out to a lead of around 11 percentage points. That lead's been shaven down to 3.4. So we're going to be waiting out of Arizona, but there are some other things I want to get to and some very hopeful things for Republicans because down ballot, they are crushing it compared to expectations. They are crushing it down ballot. It looks like my house prediction does not really going to age well because it seems like Republicans are going to outperform that vastly. Democrats have not flipped a single seat to Republican outside of the 2 in North Carolina. The one in Georgia's 7th, they do have a lead. It's not final. Republicans could still win it, but that one probably is going to go in favor of the Democrats there. But either way, down ballot, even in Iowa's 2nd district, there's hope for Republicans of another potential flip. They could flip the delegation in the state of Iowa. Minnesota's 1st district looks like a hold so far. Minnesota's 2nd district also. Angie Craig is up, but she's only up by 2 points, and I think that the deceased libertarian candidate is actually eating into the vote share there for some reason. Weird stuff going on right now in Minnesota here, but what we do know is that Donald Trump, he needs to win out to win. He has to win out. That's what he's got to do. He could lose Nevada and still get there, but to win, he has to win out. So what we have to do in Pennsylvania, they're down 4%. Donald Trump is up by around 250,000 votes. Where are those votes coming out of from? We will have to see. So looking at this, there's 14% of the vote left reporting. That's less than 1 million votes or so. Looking at this, Philadelphia County mostly counted. Montgomery is almost all in. Chester's almost all in. Delaware's 80%. Bucks is almost all in. Trump has a lead. It's going to be interesting to see if that stays, and if it does, then it's good news for Trump, but a lot of the ballots out are expected to favor the Democrats here. Allegheny, Democrats are back up where expected. They're up by 17 in Pittsburgh. That is expected, but there's still some room for Republicans to grow in Beaver County, Butler County, these suburban counties north of Pittsburgh, these exurban counties. These are probably going to be counties where Trump will gain a little bit of votes in, but there's also some counties down here where he's going to lose votes as well. So we'll have to wait and see. I would say that Donald Trump, the gut feeling says the data's not there, but we've been down that road with the data before, and it hasn't ended too well for us. So we'll have to see. Either way, Pennsylvania, looking at Pennsylvania, Biden, in Scranton, he actually did end up outperforming Hillary's totals. Even in Luzerne, he is doing it, but there are a lot of counties as well down in the T where Biden has underperformed Clinton and where Trump is overperforming his 2016 margins as well. So there's signs of hope, but at the same time, it's difficult. And there are more votes left in Clinton counties than there are votes in Trump counties. Will it be enough for Biden? Maybe not. We'll see if Trump is able to take it to the Supreme Court. But either way...
Speaking of Supreme Court, I am reading something right now. Supreme Court orders Pennsylvania Democrats to respond in ballot dispute. This is from the Washington Times, which has a paywall, so I can't get to it right away.
Yeah.
Like 16 minutes ago. Yeah, so I don't know what it says, but it does have a paywall, which is unfortunate. I don't like that at all. The
Yes.
Supreme Court ordered Pennsylvania Democrats to respond to Thursday evening's challenging the state's 3-day voter extension, and President Trump has moved to intervene in the lawsuit brought by Pennsylvania Republicans, arguing that the state's Democrat Party and Secretary of State are being malicious, essentially, and violating the law by extending the time of
Yes.
ballots. So
And let me just say
that's
this. This
taking place in
election,
Pennsylvania.
it is a disaster that this takes this long to count the ballots in a lot of these states, and there should never be an instance where you have a massive vote dump going every vote goes for one candidate pretty much in any part of the night. That's not how the ballots should be counted. That is not a fair system. That is a third world country level system. Whether if it's fraud or not, it doesn't matter. The way the ballots are being counted, it's not. It seems illegitimate on the surface, and that's what exactly these people have to answer to. And right now, looking at the election, Donald Trump is not the favorite at the moment, but we'll have to see. But either way, we saw it throughout the night. North Carolina, not called. Arizona, which is still out there, got called by Fox, which is the supposedly right-leaning network. Now, that could end up aging well. It could. I mean, Biden could win Arizona. But the fact that it's called now, but Nevada is also not called, they're setting a narrative. They are. They're setting a narrative because the votes that are expected to come in are expected to favor Donald Trump. Even if they are mail-in ballots, they still are expected to favor Trump. Even Nate Silver has been saying that, who is wrong abysmally about this election, said that Florida and North Carolina were going to go for Joe Biden, as well as several of the other states that Donald Trump won. He outperformed significantly, like Ohio and Iowa, Texas, where I was right and he was wrong. So either way, it doesn't exactly seem to be adding up why they're doing it this way.
How long do you
And
plan on streaming for, Red?
we'll wait and see until we get the results in out of Arizona, because they are expected to report around 9 p.m. Eastern time. So we are going to go, I believe that we are going to go until
For
then.
another 3 hours, right?
Yes.
Based on that. So anyways, guys, I just want to say thank you for being here in the live stream. We're at like 7,000 viewers already. If you want us to answer your questions, I mean, we have a lot of time until 9, so we should be taking super chats.
Yes.
We'll be interacting.
Yes.
You can subscribe to my channel. First link in the description. Make sure to subscribe to Red Eagle. A lot of people here. Let's get them to 100,000.
Yeah, we're only 4,019 away. So make sure you guys subscribe, and if you are subbed, hit the bell so you don't miss the videos when they come out, because we're going to have a lot of analysis to do. And I did want to look at some other races in the meantime. We are obviously watching Pennsylvania, North Carolina. I don't see Biden making up the difference, and most people don't see it either, even on the left. North Carolina, Trump is most likely going to win the state. The votes that are expected to be out there mostly going to likely come in for Trump, if anything. So
Yes,
Trump is,
and
yes.
North Carolina has been delayed, though. They won't
call
release
anything until the
remaining
12th, which
5%.
it's ridiculous that we have to wait that long as well.
Third world, people. It is third world.
Yes, so
This
you
is not
watch
an
it.
election process.
Yes, it's not. And I've talked to people out of Michigan. They were banning the Republicans from being in the vote counting centers in Wayne County, but the Democrats and the AFL-CIO were allowed in. But the Republicans, they were not allowed in. So you do see a bunch of stuff happening here, and there are shady activities going on. Was it enough in Michigan? I don't know. I said Trump would lose Michigan. I had him losing in my final prediction. My prediction was relatively on point. Right now it is still at tilt D. Trump did lose Kent County, Michigan, but he actually won Muskegon, which is very, very weird. John James won Kent County very narrowly. Trump did lose Oakland, but by much less than the left would have wanted it to be. And we're going to pull the map up if we can get the map up. There we go. Nothing out of Antrim County. The votes that do come in are going to favor Donald Trump. But you look and see here at some of the results that have come in. Trump is outperforming his 2016 totals in a good portion of the state, but Biden is doing a little bit better in Oakland, a little bit better in Washtenaw. Trump actually got 31 in Wayne, which is impressive. Again, improving with black voters definitely does help. Genesee County, which is where Flint is, I assume the remaining votes are going to come in for Biden, but still 3-point differential. Even if it's within 10, that's still impressive. That is a big swing in the Republican column. But losing in Ingham, losing in Livingston a little bit, losing in Oakland, But at the same time, improving in some of these other counties in the state. He's cracking 70 in a lot of them, which is what I expected him to do, and he has done that tonight, or he's done that yesterday, or whatever you say. But either way, it is interesting to look at. Again, he's improving in some parts of West Michigan, but at the same time, Ottawa County going for Trump by just 24. It went for him by over 30. It went for James by a wide margin, which is different than what we originally expected. When we saw the WOW counties coming in the midterms, we saw Ottawa County and Kent County come in. We expected them to swing right. But at the same time, I don't know. I really just, it does seem interesting. It seems sketchy at times why some of these counties aren't reporting the way we expected them to, because even in Ohio and some other places they are. But it just depends on the state. It's a very weird thing that's going on in many parts of Michigan, Wisconsin, a little bit in Pennsylvania, but not too much. Leelanau did flip blue. This is suburban Traverse City, so it really does show Republicans in the suburbs. There may be some problems that they're having now, and that's kind of what's doomed them in some of the middle American suburbs we talked about, which is why I thought that Donald Trump would have a good chance to win. Doesn't exactly seem to be adding up. Even though in Florida, Republicans improved in the suburbs, Miami-Dade, they improved in Hillsborough. They almost won Duval, which they were not expected to. They're probably going to be headed for another win in Pinellas. But we're just not seeing it this cycle in a lot of these counties and places like Michigan. So Michigan's probably going to go for Biden at the end of the day. It was my original prediction that it would. It now has gone for Biden by a tilt margin still. Wisconsin's all the way in. And Biden has won Wisconsin by just 0.6%. The polls said that Biden would win by 7. He's won by 0.6. And again, removing the Green Party ticket definitely played a role, you could say. Joe Jorgensen got 1.2% of the vote. If those broke 75 to 25, and Don Blankenship, all those would have gone for Trump too. If those would have broken in favor of Donald Trump would likely have won the state of Wisconsin, but he has not exactly done that so far. And looking at the map here, again, WOW County underperformance, which is exactly the opposite of what I predicted. And I think that is where this election was lost for Donald Trump, was in some of these counties. But in the Driftless, he did better in a lot of these places. Eau Claire, La Crosse, margins in line with 2016. Same thing with Rock County, Greene County. Iowa County was roughly about the same, but the only county Trump lost was Sauk and Dorr. Dorr, he barely won, he barely lost it. Sauk, he was expected to lose, and he lost it. So looking at the map, the county map was almost identical to last cycle. Portage County, again, was blue. That is the white whale county for Republicans in the state of Wisconsin. But Trump in the rural areas, he did improve over Walker, but he didn't get those margins needed in the WOW counties to pull it off. And that seems to be the issue. And I understand the skepticism because you have all these votes that are coming in Waukesha County for Joe Biden. Where exactly did they come from? I just don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
90% turnout in the 90%.
It's sketchy. It's sketchy.
Kenosha, it's not sketchy. It's very improbable. It's very improbable.
But the other thing that doesn't make sense is Racine and Kenosha voted heavily for Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump won Kenosha, I think, by more than he won it by last time. Mm-hmm. But he regressed in Milwaukee and the WOW.
Say what you will about the Democrats and how dumb their policies are. There's one thing that they're very good at, and that is counting the right amount of ballots to win an election.
Yes, exactly. The Democrat Party, and they did everything possible to get the Green Party ticket off of the ballot. Joe Jorgensen was on the ballot. I wonder where those votes would have gone to. Let's see. It looks like in some of these places there were 4% of the vote gone in places like Ozaukee County, Waukesha County. They would have favored Donald Trump. The vote share in Madison was roughly in at 90. It looks like they were roughly in at 98.4. Donald Trump in Dane, he did a little bit worse, but not by much. It really didn't make a difference. That county's not going to move no matter what happens. Trump improving in some of the places that Obama won in the Driftless. So that trend is there, but something happened in the WOW counties, and it wasn't coming in the way that we expected. And I just don't know. I cannot explain that right now.
Yeah, it's tough to explain. It came in very heavily for Trump in the first place, which is what we expected. But then the rate at which it closed the margins. I mean, we can go
Yes.
to the 538 website and we can see how it flipped. I mean, almost 100,000 votes went for Biden, while 0 went for Donald Trump
Yes.
or any other party. And now we see Donald Trump is now has 3 lawsuits pending in Georgia, Pennsylvania, and I believe
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yes, he
And
does.
so
He
this is
does.
going to the court. I, I mean, that's what I said last night before we logged off. I think I stand by that. This is going to the court, and it's. I mean, everybody in the chat's freaking out. Not necessarily Republicans, but trolls.
Yeah,
And
they're,
and I
they're-
tweeted
and
about,
I'm I'm
this.
shocked that there weren't that many today. I'm really shocked there weren't
Yeah.
that many because they knew that I was right. They knew that
Well,
I
yeah,
was
because you were
more
more
right
correct
than
than
they
them.
were, regardless
Right.
of what was going to happen. We already got the vindication from that. We're not surprised by that. So they can say what they want to say. It really doesn't exactly matter. The
Right,
bottom
it's the-
line
it-
is there is something sketchy here because Trump outperformed our expectations in a certain part of the state. Trump even outperformed our expectations in part of the other part of the state, but there's another part of the state where it didn't exactly come in the way that we expected. So we'll have to wait and see. Definitely, the results finalized. Trump can still win, but he's not going to do it through Wisconsin. That was the only state that we've officially gotten wrong so far, was the state of Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, they're still coming in. Arizona's still coming in. Nevada, we had Trump losing Nevada anyways. It depends. They say that the ballots that are going to come in, some people say they're going to favor Democrats, but if that's the case, why won't they call Nevada and the election if they're so confident in Arizona and Nevada? Doesn't really add up, doesn't make sense.
They were going to call Nevada night, but now they're delaying it because Arizona is looking like it's tightening a little bit. Just a lot of political prognosis that I'm seeing. People are asking to check Nevada.
Well, Trump is down by 8,000 votes in Nevada. That is relatively expected right now. If the votes that do come in are late breakers, that could be an interesting thing, but I don't know. I don't think that these are I don't think these mail-in votes are going to favor Trump, but for some reason, maybe they know something that we don't know, because if that's the case, they should call the state for Biden. But at the same time, I think that they have a gut feeling that Trump may edge it out somehow, so they're not calling the election. Also, Pennsylvania, there were more votes dumped in. It looks like, I don't know where they came from, but the lead did tighten a little bit there. It's now 3.3%.
Somebody's van, probably somewhere in Philadelphia.
Well, no, it's not in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I know, but I'm trying to see. I think maybe Monroe. I don't know where they came from, but either way,
but it tightened, though.
Yeah, it's definite. There's definitely some sketchy things going on. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I'm telling you what you need to hear. If you have a problem with it, you can stop watching. That's fine.
Yeah, the fact that the Democrats or that the Republicans or the news haven't called Alaska is absolutely astonishing. It goes against the narrative, and it shows you they're not calling Pennsylvania for.
Well, there's a reason why they can't call Alaska.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason why they can't, because they don't have the mail-in dump, but most of the vote is in. Trump's up by 30. I think maybe he wins by 12 or 13 or something like that, but either way, Republicans are not losing Alaska. We have Alaska filled in as Republican here. This is the map right now. How does Trump win? He holds North Carolina, which I'm gonna shade this in for probably going to win. If he wins Pennsylvania and Georgia and takes Arizona, which is possible, we'll wait and see. Maybe not. Maybe he will. Then he'd win. But either way, he needs Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania if he holds Arizona. That's how he's going to win if he does. But Georgia, there's a lot of question marks here. Looking at the ballots that are coming in, there's roughly 5% of the vote that's outstanding. But Fulton's almost all the way in. Fulton is pretty much 93%, DeKalb 89%. There are some Democrat votes out in Georgia. Trump only has a 50,000 vote lead. Earlier in the day, the Republican Secretary of State was confident that Donald Trump would pull it out. I'm still confident that you'll see Trump or you'll see Perdue pull it out in Georgia, possibly evading a runoff. But I don't know. It's just interesting. It's interesting to look at here because not a lot of us were expecting Georgia. There's always that feeling that I did have about Georgia. I said there's a chance Trump is going to do well in the Rust Belt but regress in Georgia. But the margins in Florida and North Carolina, it just doesn't exactly seem to add up with what we're seeing now in Georgia. So it must be a localized trend that you're only seeing in Georgia. That's why the needle moved back into the Democrat column when it was heavily on the Republican side the entire night after Donald Trump went out there and just killed it in Florida. He did very well. Miami-Dade, 96% of the vote is in. He only trails by 7.3%. He lost it by 32 last cycle. Pinellas County, he's probably going to win with the rest of the in-person vote that's going to come in there. There's a few other counties that he improved in. Palm Beach County, he only lost it by 12 or 13. That's his home county. So also Broward, he got it within 30, which was very impressive. So I don't know. There's some more votes here out of Florida, but I mean, it's going to be a wash. Trump wins it by 3.5 points. So a lot of people were saying that Trump wasn't going to win it, and he did. Usually when Florida moves right, the entire Rust Belt does. Hasn't exactly been the case tonight. So
have you updated the audience on the Michigan Senate race?
Yes, it seems like Peters has edged out a win in Michigan. I can pull this up here. They haven't certified it yet, but it was very close. James lost it by 60,000 votes right now. There are some more votes to come in, but a lot of them are coming in from Genesee, Kalamazoo. I don't know. There might be a couple counties left that are going to report on the Republican side, but they're small counties like Monroe. There's also an error in Antrim County that's going to flip some more votes in the Republican side when they fix that. But other than that, it's weird because James lost Kent and Leelanau last time. He won both of them. Donald Trump won both of them in 2016. Trump has lost Kent County. James has won it by 3,000 votes. And Leelanau is red. So if Trump wins, John James I think he could be a competitive gubernatorial candidate for Whitmer, because I think you're gonna see a big backlash after all this stuff that's going on in the Midwest, all the suspicion. It doesn't sit well with a whole lot of voters. I think the midterms are going to be an absolute bloodbath.
I mean, you can Google Trends right now.
They asked
Google
for
Trends when it comes to people asking about their ballots. Check my ballot is trending. Check my vote is trending. Verify my vote is trending.
Yes.
So yeah, people are obviously aware that some weird things are happening right now in places like Arizona. A lawsuit.
The Sharpie thing. I don't know. I think the Sharpie thing was blown out of proportion. I think that they are. I think that it was blown a little bit out of proportion, but. On my end, we just did hit 96,000 subscribers, so that's the white pill. We're getting closer to 100K. Is that the consolation prize we'll deal with? We'll deal with it. But we do have the Senate. It's almost certain. Alaska's going to go red. Democrats hoped that they were going to win South Carolina. They dumped millions of dollars into South Carolina. Lindsey Graham leads by 14 points. It was not even within 5. It was not even within 10. It was not even within 12. Kansas, Roger Marshall, he's up by almost 13 points right now over Barbara Bollier. Again, Trump won Kansas by almost his last margin, so we'll see. So Kansas going for Roger Marshall, big time. All the people out there, they were saying it was going to be close. Didn't happen. Iowa, a lot of people were saying Iowa was a near lock for Greenfield. Ernst won it by a likely margin. Looking at this, McConnell won by 21. That was expected. Doug Jones couldn't break 40. That was what I predicted. He couldn't break 40. He couldn't break 40. Cornyn won by 10. That was also in line with our prediction. Our predictions for the Senate were on point, if not better. I regret not making Collins the winner because I knew she would have won. I had her winning the first ballot. I had her winning the first ballot, which she did. I didn't know she was going to break the margin necessary, but Sarah Gideon has conceded. So Republicans are going to hold the Senate. It seems like even all of my margins were almost perfect in the Senate, except maybe Georgia because that one could be closer. But if Trump does end up losing the election. I do believe that Loeffler's a lock in the special. Republicans typically do well in the runoffs in Georgia, and there's going to be more of a need to put the check on the president. Republicans, especially if they lose the state of Georgia, the energy will increase in a lot of these places. Now, looking
Can I just say something real quick about the chat? If I see you guys Fed posting, calling for violence, calling for action, I will delete your messages and ban you if you do it again, because we're not gonna call for a civil war or anything. And I'm the mods in there. I've told them the same thing. So
yes,
it's stupid.
Yes, we can only improve ourselves and make the country a better place in the future if we need to improve ourselves and improve our communities and change the culture. We got to stay strong for that. No violence necessary here. That's the weak position. That's for them. That's not for us. But we'll see. So either way, again, it seems like Steve Daines has won by 10. Democrats, I mean, Bullock really did shoot himself in the foot with the court packing question. So down ballot, Democrats were punished badly in the Senate. That was not even expected. So Biden is going to have a Republican Senate to work with. Tom Tillis is the apparent winner almost. He's declared victory in North Carolina. He leads by roughly 100,000 votes. So the scandal did hurt Cal Cunningham. It absolutely did. We can see that here. It did hurt Cal Cunningham vastly. Dan Sullivan is cruising to, I mean, he's Trump, I think, in Alaska. He'll be fine. So it does seem like if you look at the Senate, Republicans did everything they had to do. Michigan was almost a flip. It hasn't been called yet, but John James put up a good fight, and he outperformed Trump, which is something that I did expect him to do, and he did. So there we go. Now we'll look at the House. We're going to look at the House because this is where it gets even better for Republicans down ballot. The generic ballot right now is a dead heat. It's a tie. Is it going to stay at a tie? Doubtfully. I think Democrats are going to end up winning it by 4, maybe 5. We'll see. So looking at this map, Democrats have not flipped a seat yet. Obviously, they flipped two in North.
Does look good right now, yeah.
They flipped 2 in North Carolina because of redistricting. That was expected. Nothing's new. Republicans have flipped 7 seats. None of those were because of redistricting. They flipped 2 in Florida. They flipped Iowa's first. They flipped Minnesota 7th by a wider margin than most people expected, even though Minnesota really did let us down. And I'm very surprised, but they are a weird state. They are very hard to predict. And I do take responsibility. There were a lot of things that I did get wrong. Some of the things that I got wrong actually underestimating Republicans, by the way, across the House and in certain margins in the presidential election. But New Mexico 2nd, that was a easy flip, and I wonder if Biden's oil stances had something to do with New Mexico 2nd, Oklahoma's 5th, because, by the way, New Mexico, Mark Ronchetti, he got within roughly 5. That was uncalled for. Nobody saw that coming, but it happened. Now, Pennsylvania, they're still counting the ballots in Pennsylvania. Republicans are up big in the 10th district. I assume that is going to hold. The 8th district has flipped back into the Democrat column right now. I believe that is the Jim Bognay seat right there. Trump is winning, I believe, in this district, but Cartwright is also in the lead there. But looking at the House, it is, again, Republicans are at 188 seats. Democrats thought they were going to gain. Republicans they could be closer to taking the House back than they were to be losing a net seats. That was never going to happen. All the seats in New York, there are mail-in ballots that haven't come in yet that will favor the Democrats, but it seems like if they're up 20, 15 or more points in a lot of these places, they're probably going to hold on. Looking at the map there. Now going down the ballot, Texas. They said they were going to flip Texas. The Latinos saved the Republican Party in Texas. They did. Trump easily cracked 40. He got 40 in Hidalgo County, which is virtually unheard of in Texas. And they won. They held the Texas 23rd seat by a lean margin. They mocked me for saying that would hold. But no, it didn't. Even Texas is 23rd held. I said sleeper flip or sleeper hold in this case, and that happened. They have not called the 24th. That probably does hold for Republicans based on the fact that a lot of the vote that's coming in Texas now, Trump is now up by over 6. His Collin and Denton margins are mirroring 2016 now, more so than the 2018 election. That is a good sign. So, vast improvement in South Texas, vast improvement in South Florida, and in places in Arizona, which is why I do believe there's a chance. There's a small chance that it's still in play. And we're going to cover Arizona when the results come in roughly around an hour. Spanberger did regain the lead in Virginia's 7th, although it is much closer than a lot of people expected. Utah's 4th. This is one where this is narrowed vastly. Burgess Owens is down by less than 3,000 with 27% of the vote left. Now,
you want to get Gabe in here? Give it a 1 minute.
Yeah, I mean, we can get him in here. We could bring him back. We could bring him in here, for sure. But the bottom line here is that there's some seats here, the Republicans, that I expected them to flip, and it seems like that on the Senate level, they are killing it. On the House level, they are killing it. On the presidential level, something went down, and I don't know what's really the deal here, but it's a little weird. The fact
they're also doing great on the statewide level, like
yes,
in North Carolina. And in Texas, Republicans gain seats. Republicans now have the largest majority in the state house in North Carolina since 2010.
Yeah, and I do expect Donald Trump to end up holding that. So let's see, down ballot. These are the seats that a lot of these seats Democrats were expecting to win in, and there was a graphic that was up, and it showed like toss-up seats. Republicans are going to win every single one almost. The one in Arizona, there's a little bit of vote left to come in that's most likely going to favor Trump. And the one that we did see, I believe it was in Utah, that one is narrowing, that one is tightening. So California, I did want to get to California. There are House seats there that are competitive. Republicans currently up in, they're up in Valadeo's seat. They're up in the Steele seat around San Diego. In California, they are up in a lot of these different places. You look at the map here, the 50th seat, that is going to be a hold. The 48th seat, Steele is up. But again, we know what happens in California, so be patient. Nothing's for certain. Young Kim she's winning right now. That was not expected. She was losing in her internals, so we'll wait and see.
The thing about that is, in 2018, Young Kim also won for about 2 weeks, and then she lost somehow.
I believe she went to the congressional orientation.
She was sworn in, right? Yeah.
Yes. But there is good news because some of the vote may be around 50-50 split. TJ Cox was expected to lose. David Valadao leads with 71% of the vote in. He leads by roughly 3,000 votes or so. Out of the 25th district, Christy Smith and Mike Garcia, dead heat. She was up big earlier. That is narrowed, 14% left reporting. So we'll wait and see what happens on that front as well. Other than that, the 3rd district in Nevada, it's close. I expect Dems to hold it. Tom O'Halloran in Arizona's first. Keep in mind, how are the remaining votes going to come in? O'Halloran is up by it looks like 4.4%. So there's a chance that if the votes do come in more Republican, he could be doomed, but that might depend on the jurisdiction. Just because they are expected to do so in Maricopa doesn't mean that they're expected to do so in other parts of Arizona. So either way, Republicans are in good shape in the House, fairly good shape. Democrats, the only seat that they're really going to flip at the moment is the seat that's in Georgia's 7th, where they are up with 5% of the vote outstanding. They're up by 9,000 votes. I'm shocked they haven't called it yet, but we'll see. Now, either way, looking at the map, it seems like, I mean, some seats in Illinois, Republicans are like up in the 14th, but the votes that are going to come in Illinois, those votes are not going to be votes that are expected to go to Trump or the Republicans at all. I mean, Trump is only down 13 statewide. He's not going to stay that way. Iowa's 2nd is a dead heat, 89% reporting.
50-50.
That is 50-50. About a 300 vote difference separates Miller Meeks and Rita Hart right now. So Either way, down ballot, really good for Republicans. If Biden does end up winning, they're almost certain to take back the House now in 2022. They're probably going to finish around 208 seats. By the way, they swept a lot of the toss-up seats, even seats we didn't expect them to flip, like the first seat. Ashley Hinson is projected the winner there. Yvette Harrell won, but not only did she won big. South Carolina's first district, and it does seem like a lot of these seats were held by rhinos, and a lot of the rhinos are going away, and there's new blood in the party. But again, at the same time, you do have to question who the people are that are taking over too, because a lot of them are corrupted by the establishment. So
is it new blood with the exact same blood type?
Yes, that's the deal. And that's the question, because
we're looking at like Minnesota 7th, for example, where a Republican did flip it, took Colin Peterson's seat, who was a conservative Democrat. But the question is the new Republican in there a neocon who's going to get us involved in Iraq, whereas Colin Peterson was actually a conservative Democrat who believed in, not allowing big corporations to run the world.
Yes.
Not necessarily going to wars. And
yes.
so it's like,
and same
what are we
thing
gaining,
with
what are we losing?
Same thing with Cawthorn in the 11th. He's coming out like he's a big star, and the party's propping him up, but he takes the immigration section off of his website when he gets the nomination. A lot of question marks there, but he has won by, it looks like he has won by 12% with all the votes in. He was expected to win. Mo Davis was kind of a nut job on other issues. He was kind of a nut job. Even a lot of the people on the left were saying, okay, this guy's a little weird, and he has lost. By the way, Dan Bishop won by 11. Keep that in mind. This was a Trump plus 11 district, so the base came out nationwide, especially for the House, more so than expected. Currently 66 million votes in the House for both sides. The last time they only turned out 51 million Republicans, so they did get more people to come out and vote, which is good. No surprise flips. They hoped they could flip Arkansas second, didn't happen. They hoped they could take Montana. I had it as Tiltar, probably one of my most embarrassing mistakes, but nobody's going to recognize it because I made the mistake in the other error. Matt Rosendale up by 12.2% with 97% of the votes in Montana. Montana, Dems said they would get it close, and where did that happen? And if Biden wins, nobody's going to hold the election mafia accountable because they're just going to say, oh, it was a pandemic and the polls were off or something like that. Even though we know this election was extremely, extremely close.
Yes.
Yeah, and we know that the election was extremely close, but their polling was off. Trafalgar underestimated Trump in Ohio and Florida, and even the Seltzer poll in Iowa. I mean, Trump is up in Iowa now by 8.2% with 92% of the votes in. I did want to check Vigo County to see how it's coming in, but I mean, it is coming in 71-25 Trump, but only 14% of the votes have been cast. If you look at New Mexico, the county, Valencia County, I believe, that came in for Trump by 10. That bellwether, if Trump does go down, that is no longer a bellwether. That and Vigo are probably going to go for Trump, especially if Trump is winning Indiana by 20 points elsewhere. So either way, I mean, it's not looking that good for the bellwether counties because they didn't hold up if Trump does go down, which is not a sure thing. But right now, so 88% is in Pennsylvania. Trump still has a lead of it's looking like 200,000 votes. But the Philadelphia dump, Philadelphia is still 70. There's 30% of the vote left in Philadelphia. Bucks County, I mean, a lot of the vote that's going to come in, it probably is going to favor Biden. Will it be enough? That's the question. Trump declared victory. We'll see if that was. I mean, it was an alpha move because it was
a smart move.
Yes, it was a smart move politically speaking because now it puts doubt on the vote cast, and now you could take it to the court. So that's what's beneficial about this. Now, Michigan, Biden getting all the votes in Michigan and Wisconsin. It's suspicious in Wisconsin. Michigan, that margin, 120,000 votes. He did only win it by 2, but that is not that is a fraud-proof margin, in my opinion. Out of Michigan, I don't know. Wayne County, there was some sketchy things going on, but was it enough? I can't say if it was or not. I just don't know. But looking at the map, there's a lot of other things we could look at. The trend from 2016, in a lot of these counties that are fully in, and in Ohio, they move more in the Republican column. Same thing with North Carolina. Everywhere in Mississippi so far that's fully in came in heavily, changing in the trend into the Republican column. You see a little bit in Georgia moving away. You see a little bit in Kentucky and in some of the big counties there that did move a little bit away. But the counties that are all the way in the country, a lot of them did move to the right from last cycle. A lot of them did. There were a few counties that did move to the left, but still, a lot of these rural counties, these working class counties in Ohio, the coal country in Ohio, they moved right. Pennsylvania, a little bit of a shift the other way. It's looking like in a lot of eastern Pennsylvania. That is not that good of a sign, but we'll have to wait and see when the votes are fully counted. But in Ohio and northern Michigan, western Wisconsin, a lot of the counties, the arrows moved to the right. So I don't know what you make of that, David, but that is a common theme because a lot of the country, in terms of the rural margins, did actually end up moving right.
Really? So Trump improved in them?
In most counties on the map, I'd say it's about 50-50, but Trump did improve in a lot of the counties.
It's quite interesting, kind of the trends here in Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, these rural parts. And in the Sandhills of North Carolina, he did better. He obviously did better among Idaho and Utah Mormons.
Yes. Yeah, anyone that said that McMullen voters were going to back Biden, by a 2-1 margin in Utah, it's certain that they backed Trump. You can look at the margins out of Utah here. Obviously, maybe it would have been a different story in Salt Lake City, but overwhelmingly, we'll have to wait. I mean, it does seem like in a lot of places like Idaho and some other places. I mean, in Kansas and Nebraska, there was some movement left. It did not really make a noticeable dent outside of Omaha, which will come back to bite Trump, especially because that extra electoral vote, he needed that, and he didn't get it. There was not a lot of polling out of that district, but it seems like whatever little polling was out was accurate.
I think the most concerning shifts we're seeing right now are in the Austin and Dallas and Atlanta suburbs.
Yes. You look at Dallas.
Obviously, Colorado trended right a lot as well by 14 points to Biden, I think is how the margin is.
Yes, and Collin and Denton did move left. They did come back a little bit, though. Collin still went for Trump by 5. Denton still went for Trump by 8, but those are not the margins that you need. And how does the Republican Party moving forward perform better in the suburbs while still maintaining the rural base? That's what they need to try to do if they want to win next cycle.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to take next election cycle, next presidential cycle, I figure. Sorry, I thought I lost you for a moment. Next presidential cycle, I figure it's going to be difficult to win, especially if Trump wins right now. If he loses, we'll see if Joe Biden makes it past his two years.
Yes, yeah.
But hypothetically speaking, if Trump does lose this election, then 2022 is going to be good for the Republicans. But if he wins this election, 2022 is going to be bad for the Republicans. Which
exactly.
Is okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Considering the Republicans have made such gains tonight or yesterday night.
Yeah.
And you can tell I'm running on like 3 hours of sleep right now.
And in the Senate, in the House, that means if Biden does win, Republicans are going to hold the Senate. I do think that if you look at the margins in the Rust Belt this cycle, they are close enough. If you run good candidates, you will hold Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. I think North Carolina holds. I think Dan Forrest overperformed. He could be a contender for that Senate seat, and I think he could go out there and win. And the Georgia race, I'm sure, will stay red. Ducey is going to run. Even if Trump does win, I think he could flip Mark Kelly's seat in Arizona. So either way, if Biden does win, 2018 Republicans may gain in the Senate. New Hampshire, Maryland, maybe Hogan runs as an independent. I've heard that rumor before. It's still better than whatever you got there now, but it's not really a full vote on your side. And there's also some other races as well, and you could put better Republicans in places like Ohio than Rob Portman. If you find a guy to primary him, that would also be beneficial.
So can we talk about fraud for a moment?
Yes.
Okay. Because I do want to say some things about this. If you would let me go on a tangent for a little while,
I'll let you talk for a little bit.
All right. When it comes to fraud, it's speaking in the court of law. It's difficult to entirely prove with certainty. But when we're talking about elections, we can look at trends statistically speaking. We can use deductive reasoning. We can look at the results, compare them to former elections, and we can see that there are pretty suspicious things happening in the state of Wisconsin. There are counties that are seeing 91, 89% voter turnout, whereas in 2012 they only barely reached 70%. That is astronomically high and unrealistic. We can see that vote dumps of 120,000 are all going to Joe Biden. That is mathematically, statistically impossible.
Yes,
I guess
at least improbable.
Chance of happening.
At least statistically improbable. There is something that's going on. Is it enough to sway the margin in Michigan? No. Is it enough? Is it enough to sway the margin in Wisconsin? Yes. Is it enough to sway the Senate seat margin in Michigan? Potentially. Will it be enough in places like Pennsylvania? Yes, possibly as well, because bad things happen in Philadelphia, and that we know. So we'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of sketchy things that are happening, a lot of sketchy stuff that's going on, and we will be continuing to monitor it. So we'll have to wait and see.
And the most suspicious thing about this whole situation is that's only half of it. The other half is the fact that the Democrats are trying so damn hard to keep Republicans out from watching the vote being counted and tabulated. And they're putting boards up on the windows, on the glass. They're keeping poll watchers out of the counting rooms. They're actively trying to stop people from making sure that our election is transparent, which is what they've been calling for this whole election cycle. So when they say mail-in voting is going to be fine, nothing's going to go wrong, and then everything goes wrong, and it takes 3 days to count the election results, or in North Carolina, it takes an extra 9 days. I mean, that's a little weird to me, but
yes, no, the suspicion, that's what I was looking for, is real. Definitely a lot of the ways the states have been called, a lot of the ways the vote dumps have been coming in, not very transparent. We did not see this last cycle. We did not see this in 2012, 2008, 2004. 2000 was weird because of Florida, but even then, I mean, they fixed that because a lot of these states were being called early and they had to retract. You're seeing a similar thing potentially with Arizona, but we'll wait and see when the Arizona results do come in. So either way, there is a lot of questions about election transparency and the way they count the votes. The only state that got it right, Florida. Trump won Florida by 3.5%, by the way. But this is the only state that they actually called and they caught the votes in fast. What does Florida do that the rest of the nation can do to make it an easy, fast, transparent process? So, I don't know. But Florida, something has to be done.
The poll watchers in Florida they're good at what they do. Florida has a lot of history with election fraud and election problems. 2000 comes to mind, and so they've gotten better at that stuff. You also have to keep in mind that Florida has voter ID laws, and Florida has used absentee ballots in the past before, and so they kind of knew what they were doing. They counted the votes before Election Day, and you know.
Yeah, exactly. And that will have to be looked at. So we'll see. But either way, I think that we'll have to wait and see when the full results come in to see exactly what the autopsy report was. Michigan fraud didn't do that in Michigan because there's no way. There's no way. That's 120,000 votes. And I expected Trump would lose Michigan, and he has lost Michigan. Minnesota, this one disappointed me because I didn't think Trump was going to win it, but 7 points for Biden, 7% going for Joe Biden in the state. Again, that's a huge margin. And again, he got the turnout up super high in Minneapolis. So Biden had the energy factor for some reason that we didn't see in a lot of these suburban places, which is bizarre. Now, I don't know why that it was, but even in the Iron Range, Trump was not even getting last cycle's totals in the Iron Range. St. Louis County voted for Biden by 15 points. That's roughly in line with last cycle. Lake County, Carlton County, both going for Joe Biden. Cook County going big for Biden. Again, we didn't expect that to flip, but we thought it could be a little bit closer. So either way, there's all these, we do hear about these anecdotes of potential fraud that goes on, but at the same time, what went wrong? Because you can't just blame that, because you got to say, if you lose an election, why was it lost?
Right.
Could it be being stolen? Potentially, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, the election, we're still getting our results in. Something happened last night at around 3 to 6 in the morning where you saw an entire paradigm shift. You saw people count the votes. You have every right to complain about potential stuff that was going on. You have every right to look into it. Don't listen to what the media is saying about it. Look into it for yourself. See exactly what's going on, because if there's the evidence in Pennsylvania and these mail-in ballots and the way they count them, it's ridiculous. Are they just manufacturing enough votes? How is it exactly going to work in Pennsylvania? How is it exactly going to work? Because they're not doing it transparently. They're not doing it transparently at all. That is the problem that we're seeing here. It should not take us. It should not take us this long to call Georgia, North Carolina, where you wait for 8 days to count your ballots. They're going to count the 5% remaining 8 days from now. 8 days from now, they're waiting. This is a disgrace. This is third world country level election. And
Georgia is on Fox News. Georgia is 98% reporting, with Donald Trump up by 0.8%.
Okay, well, how many votes does he have? 2 point what?
2.2 million. 2.4 million.
2.42.
2.
Because right now it shows him up 2,423,518. Is that the same margin?
No, actually, it's 2,424,000. So
okay,
it's not a big difference. So Georgia just had Fox
more
News
of Georgia's in.
Times.
So we'll wait and see. We'll wait for Georgia. More votes coming in out of Georgia.
A tabulation error here.
Yeah,
the New York
98%.
Times is projecting that it is only 94% in, but Fox is saying it's 98% in.
Well, Fox says the only votes left are in Lowndes County and DeKalb.
Yeah.
So if that does stand true, and Trump has a lead in Georgia of, let me see, he's up in Georgia right now by 48,000 votes. Let me go back to Georgia. They're still 6% in DeKalb. They're not going to make that up, if that is true. I do have my skepticism, though. I don't know why it's showing it all in, but that is the way it is right now. Trump is up by 0.8%, 98% reporting. If that was the case, Georgia'd be done. I don't believe it is. North Carolina, it's showing everything in on Fox. That's not true. So, I mean, there's an error in Fox's system for sure. We're still waiting on every blue county except Northampton on Fox. So that's another thing there to look at as well. A lot more counties haven't fully come in yet. So we'll see. But a very interesting map out of Muskegon, Michigan especially, because I don't know how Trump won Muskegon with everything in. But at the same time, he goes out and he loses Kent, and he does better in some areas. He does worse in some areas. So it's interesting to see how this shift is working, and definitely that suburban swing in Grand Rapids definitely worked against Donald Trump, despite the fact that he put his final push in at his final rally in Kent County. So we'll see. Again, Michigan is for Biden. We know Michigan is gone, but there are 3 states left if Donald Trump wins these 3, as well as potentially we'll wait on Arizona. It could be interesting. Could be getting down to something interesting. So we'll see. It's time to get to Super Chats again. I'll read some of the Super Chats that we get. We're reading them above, the ones yellow and above. Brian T says, thank you. You've done a great job. What do you think about North Carolina and Georgia? What's your gut saying? I think North Carolina is good for Trump. I don't know about Georgia. I don't want to say that it's going to go for Trump because it might not. But Georgia, I mean, let's look at predicted on Georgia. Speaking of the gut, what are other people saying about Georgia? Currently, they have it at 64% Biden. So take that as you will. We'll have to wait and see. Anthony H says, what was the reason they waited to call so late to call Florida to discourage Nevada and Arizona? I don't know, but AP called Florida, I think it was at like 8, and we called it right after because it was certain that the votes were coming in favoring Trump. Lena Lois says, thanks, guys. I'd rather watch this than Fox. Yes, absolutely. Fox has gone downhill, and their early Arizona call, again, proves it. If you're on the left and you were mad about the Wisconsin call that they did in 2016, I would say you have a right to be, because it was a very close margin, and there was still a big swath of the vote that was not counted. So I absolutely, it is a dual type of thing. Fox has been incompetent for years. So can Trump win Arizona? Yes. Could he lose it? Yes. But if it's a narrow victory for Biden, I will forever chastise that call early in Arizona. Even most of the Fox News hosts are saying that Trump could still win it, even though Fox has called it for Biden. Are you saying they separate ballots by Trump and Biden and then count them? That seems rigged. I don't, David. I don't think that that's exactly accurate. So we'll see.
I didn't say that.
David W. says, did you see the Crowder footage of possible voter fraud in Michigan? Look at it. I did hear about that. Yes, I did.
It. Yeah, it seems a little weird to me.
Yeah, a little weird. I don't know. I take this stuff with a grain of salt for sure. Soul Leader Blaze says, Trump can still win if he wins Pennsylvania, Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia. Trump will fight for us in the end in court or the Supreme Court if need be to stop the blatant voter fraud. Don't lose hope. God Emperor Trump 2020. We'll wait and see.
No, I mean, he's not wrong either.
No, he's not wrong. True. We'll wait and see, though. We'll have to wait. AMR Ika says, thanks for the great coverage. My wife and I popped around last night between news stations, Daily Wire, Crowder, TYT for fun, and others, but found you guys were the most interesting by far. Just subscribe. Thank you. And we've got 8,000 viewers right now. Make sure every one of you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications as well if you are subbed.
That was very kind of you to say. I mean, those people are big.
They are big, and we did well. We got 28,000 at our peak. We got over 500,000 people that stopped by. So no matter what happens, we're very appreciative of the support that we've gotten on this channel. Currently at 96.1K almost. So I don't know. Maybe one of these days we'll hit 100K. We'll have to wait and see. But it's definitely gonna be fun to watch what happens. Now, let's go down here. Sam Madsen said GOP held their narrow Senate majority in my state to keep the trifecta away, but it was scary. Seats in the suburbs that went 65% for the Republican even in 2016, this time now went red by just 1%. Yeah, it is definitely scary in the suburbs. We'll have to monitor the situation, and I'm going to do some videos, and that's what the thing. Autopsy reports. How do we do better? How do we do better in the suburbs? Do we even need to do better in the suburbs, or what's the deal with that as well? Looking at the and definitely we have a good friend of ours that works on ideology maps as well. That definitely helps. So, for sure.
We have the brains, we have the energy, we have it all, because we're going to win. We're the winning side.
Yes, we definitely do.
Just trust the plan. At the end of the day, we're great.
Yes, for sure. And we're working hard to see, and we'll see if the steal, if it is there, could be stopped. Definitely something is going on, and Trump is criticized the vote count, because it just causes chaos. Even if Trump does lose, why count the votes this way? Even if it is fair and square, why count the votes this way? You're causing massive panic. Enough is enough. We're tired of it. By the way, Lil Pump just tweeted, remain calm, remain patient, have trust in the system. Our man will be reelected. Hashtag Trump 2020 Eskedit at Real Donald Trump. And he had the picture of him at the Trump rally in Michigan, speaking as the picture. So we'll see. Lil Pump inspires more hope than Ben Shapiro does at these times. Very interesting development there, but not really. So we'll see. Looking into this further, let's see other super chats that we have. Just Show It 99 says, as much as this all sucks, thanks, man, real trooper. Well, they were expecting an early night. That didn't happen. Wisconsin was within 1. Michigan was within 2.
Yeah, God knows it
I'm
wasn't
not.
early
That's
night.
they're going to say that's the cope of it all, but still, that was closer to our prediction than their prediction. So they're the ones that have been coping with the election results, saying, "Oh, look, Blumph is done, Blumph is
I mean,
finished."
they
Which,
really, they have been coping in the sense that they're calling us the ones that are coping, when in
all right,
reality,
hold
that's
on.
their cope.
Yeah, let me read this thing in here. It says Georgia's Sec of State reports 122,000 ballots will be counted across Georgia. Biden needs to win them by 44,000 to win the election. I don't know if he has those numbers. It depends what kind of votes they are. But if that is true, he's probably in better shape in Georgia than we thought. But it depends where the votes are. It depends how the votes are coming in. What type of votes are they, as well. So that definitely does have to be looked at. So let's see here. We've got a couple more super chats. Garrett Wilt says both Minnesota and Wisconsin had 90% turnout. Michigan had 71% turnout. In Australia, where voting is compulsory, turnout is 90%. Yeah, but that's voting is compulsory in Australia. That is a little bit of a different. I disagree with that as well, but it doesn't seem to make sense. Someone said they called it for Peter. Yeah, I'm well aware Peters was going to win, but James put up a fight. And yes, election mafia. It was a toss-up this whole time, and it tilted your way. Congratulations. But it was always going to be a toss-up. They made fun of us for saying it was a toss-up. James is not going to edge it out, but it was a toss-up. Deal with it. So they're really coping with the election results right now. We're not the ones coping. So we're still going to have some fun with the pollsters because they've lost all credibility, but nobody's going to hold them accountable because if Trump wins, Trump goes down, nobody's going to hold him accountable. And if Trump wins, they're going to say Trump stole the election. So either way, the pollsters are messed up.
Pollsters are screwed.
Yeah. Ryan Hurd said, yeah, there's more. Ryan Hurd said Project Veritas bombshell fraud video out of Michigan coming tonight. We'll monitor that if it happens. Usually these things have largely been nothing burgers, but sometime they've eventually hit the nail on the head. The one in Minnesota was definitely something sketchy, but I don't know. Nothing seems to have come of it, so we'll see. Nathaniel Hyde said, look at Pennsylvania 17. It's a dead heat with 90% reporting. That is the Parnell seat. But Biden's been gaining in Pennsylvania to the point where it might not end up making a difference. Let's see. Pennsylvania's 17th. 90% of the vote is in. It is a dead heat. If Parnell wins, that is astounding, but still, we'll have to wait and see. So if the votes come in more for Lamb, which they have been doing, so Lamb probably does win. But Parnell's a candidate for the Senate in 2022. He ran a very good, hard-fought campaign, and he definitely did get a lot of publicity for it. And that is a good thing that he did run a good, close campaign. Down-ballot Republicans did a very good job. Peter Meyer is also probably going to win. Haley Stevens as well, very narrowly. I think maybe it depends how they redistrict that seat, because if the seat is the same next cycle, then that means that yes, Stevens probably, she could be vulnerable, but if they redistrict it more over into Detroit, then Stevens is probably going to be safe for a while. So it really depends. But Slotkin won by 4 against Paul Young. He ran a decent campaign, but not good enough. I still think that Mike Dempter could have pulled it off. But in Michigan's 11th, Eric Ishaki, he did a fairly good job. He's only down by 9,000 votes. He's probably going to lose, but he did a good job. Dan Kildee's going to win, but that was a narrower margin than a lot of people did expect. Trump did. He may outperform Flint from 2016 in Michigan. But overall, looking at the House, it does seem like there's not a few surprises, but
Indiana 5th.
Well, there are a few surprises, but no few surprises against the Republicans.
No,
Indiana's 5th.
As a matter of fact, it was a likely Democrat pickup just weeks ago.
Yeah,
Republicans held it,
and we knew that was going to happen. They have no pickups on the night. Georgia's 7th is their only hope right now.
Speaking of Georgia, Decision Desk says 98% reporting Donald Trump leads by less than a point.
How much? What's the percentage point?
0.77.
Okay, I think that's in line with what Fox has to say. I'm not surprised by that. Like I said, it's going to go down the wire in Georgia. It was always going to be close, and it seems like we'll see what happens. But now, I did want to address this super chat, even though it's not yellow or above, but Arthur Anderson did bring up the point about the Michigan State website because people have been mentioning it to me all day. That is old. Those are old numbers. They haven't updated them out of certain counties. That's why it's skewed towards Trump. So they were doing that in the primary too. Don't get fooled by certain metrics that don't seem to add up all the time. But we'll wait and see out of Arizona because there definitely are some key results. David Schweikert probably will edge out the 6th. So where are the flips going to come from for the Dems? Besides the one in Georgia, it doesn't seem like they have a pickup. Virginia's 5th. They hope to pick that one up. Bob Good won it by 7 points. If you look at the 1st district in Ohio, Steve Shabbat, he is up by 6. The 13th district, Tim Ryan won, but by a likely margin over Christina Hagan, which is what I expected. It's going to be very close. That is a potential flip in the future. Depends on what happens next, the midterms or whatever. But Democrats you got to be feeling disappointed about the night, even if you were expecting a Biden win in terms of down ballot, because it doesn't seem to be coming in exactly the way that they really wanted it to come in a lot of these places.
There were a lot of people that thought the Democrats were going to pick up seats.
Yes, and that's the problem. I saw a lot of forecasts that Republicans were under the number they're at now, and obviously Republicans are still going to get seats that are out there. They're leading in plenty of them in a lot of these states here. So they're going to obviously match their total from last cycle and gain a few seats. So like Alaska's not called yet. A couple in California haven't been called yet that are supposed to go Republican. The Arizona 6th is probably going to stay with the Republicans, and maybe they'll pick off Iowa too. I think they'll hold Minnesota's 1st, and then a couple of seats that haven't been called yet in New York. But overall, Republicans doing well in terms of the House. We'll continue to watch the votes come in here, but does seem to be looking up for Republicans in the House. So let's look back at the super chats. Let's see, there's a couple more. JL says, great job, great analysis. You earned a new subscriber. Thank you, I appreciate it. So we'll have to wait and see. But Georgia still hasn't updated. Oh wait, it did update, but it still says 95%. So it depends how many votes are left in Georgia, but they are going to have to break for Biden by 40,000 votes, it looks like, in order for Biden to win the state of Georgia. That is going to be a very close margin either way. That's going to be a very close margin out of Georgia as the votes do come in. Let's see what Predicted's saying. Right now, Predicted has Georgia now at 69. Not really a good sign for Donald Trump right now.
Because Predicted has always been so right.
Well, it's not. It's not been right. And earlier today, it was. The early hours of the day was vastly favoring Trump. That does seem to be slipping away a little bit. But the vote dump out of Maricopa, they say it's coming at 9 o'clock. They say around 9 o'clock Eastern, they're going to update it. So we are going to wait for the vote dump out of Arizona, and then I think that's all we'll have to work with here, because the votes out of Pennsylvania, they are probably not going to come in for a while here, and if they do, it's probably they're probably not going to favor Donald Trump. Just plain and simple. The votes that are left are probably not going to favor Trump. They are mail-in ballots. We know how they're going to come in. So we'll see. But either way, Georgia, I knew it was going to flip soon. If it goes this cycle, that is going to be astounding. So,
hey, do you think,
again,
just a question,
Biden can get there if Biden wins Georgia, Trump would have to win everything else on the map just to get there at the House. And I think he's got North Carolina. I think Pennsylvania, we could talk about Pennsylvania. It's looking a little bleak in Pennsylvania. Arizona, I think there is hope, but it really depends how the ballots come in. They could come in one way or another. Nevada, probably going to favor Democrats, but for some reason they haven't come in a certain way. So
we're waiting until later.
Yes, for sure.
So I got a question for you.
Let's see. I got a new.
Oh, is my mic muted? No. Do you think that they'll call Georgia for Trump if it looks like he's winning it, or do you think they're gonna do what they did to North Carolina and Alaska?
North Carolina, Alaska, I understand, and I think they can call it for Trump, but I understand that they have to wait for a certain amount of ballots to be cast, and they have to. It's Alaska. They do things very differently in Alaska. It should be called, but they do things very differently. So we'll see. But either way,
Michigan's 3rd congressional district has been called Republican.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was an open election, I think, right?
For sure. But either way, it seems like now it's 38,000 vote lead for Trump in Georgia, 120,000 votes left, 122,535. So if you want to crunch these margins, here, David, and I'll get your input on this too. So looking at the margin here out of Georgia, let's pull this up.
New York Times or Fox News?
We can use the New York Times because it is updated. The margin right now is 40. Or well, we'll wait because I got the latest update. It was 38,200. Divide that by 122,535. So that's a 31% of that margin. So looking at that, Biden would have to win those votes by 31 in order for him to win Georgia. He's going to need to win them by roughly a 2-1 margin to win Georgia, which is possible.
That's possible.
But that would have to be an astronomical margin. See, now Georgia's at 75 on predicted. So the votes are going to be coming in out of Georgia. Trump is going to need to win them, or Biden is going to have to win those votes by 31%. So either way, divide that by 2, add it to 0.5. Biden needs to win them 65-35 in order for him to win the state of Georgia. And it's going to be very, very narrow. But also there's this new update on Twitter that does show that there is proof, some type of thing that came out here. Let me try to see if I can pull it up. It shows that there's this picture of fraud in Detroit, potentially proof of mail-in ballots being used for people born in 1900. 1900.
Yeah.
So is that a glitch in the system, or is that exactly fraud? We'll have to see.
Is it a glitch in the system?
I just don't know. It could be a glitch in the system.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Unicorns could also be real.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. We don't know. We don't know if it's a glitch in the system or if it's an actual potential fraud risk. But either way,
I don't think 1900 should even be in the system. Clean the voter rolls.
Yeah, but it does seem fraud in Detroit. Proof of mail-in ballots being used for people born in 1900. This was sent in by an observer. So we'll see what happens. There's definitely going to be a lot of civil unrest because of this. Either way, and
it's like when Jack Dorsey claims that them banning Matt Gaetz from Twitter is an accident in the algorithm. It's like an accident in the algorithm, but it's an on purpose accident. In the algorithm.
Exactly. By the way, Peter Meyer just won in Michigan's 3rd, so Michigan, the delegation is half and half.
Let's go.
So Someone said retweet it now. Okay, we're gonna retweet it.
You retweet it right now. I am your audience, and I
retweeting
demand
it right now. So we're gonna retweet that. But
Somebody-
very interesting. We're
Yeah.
gonna wait and see. Definitely, there's a lot of people on the ground that are coming up with very interesting developments out of Michigan. Someone said Biden's from 1900.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he kind of is. So we'll see. But Georgia, Biden needs to win 65% of the remaining votes. Where are the votes coming from? There's some in DeKalb. Those probably will break for Biden heavily. But there's some in some other counties. Harris County has a decent amount of votes left. Those are going to break Republican. But again, we have to see. Either way, that margin is going to be 38,000, and Biden needs to win the remaining votes in Georgia by 65. It's possible, but that's what he would have to do. That's what he would have to do to win. So we'll have to see.
That we will.
We'll have to see.
We're still waiting for Arizona to.
Oh yeah, we're still waiting on Arizona. If Arizona comes in, which we don't really know what's going to happen, but Arizona has 14% of the vote left. A lot of that I've heard is going to favor Trump, even if some of it's mail-in. That's from Nate Silver, by the way. That's not from somebody on the right, and we'll have to see. But either way, there are a lot of shady things that are happening in the Rust Belt. Absolutely. So now is the time to look into it and investigate. That's all you can do is investigate. I mean, Wisconsin, the margins in the WOW counties are ridiculous. Coming in for Biden, the raw vote totals, 95%, 99% Democrat turnout. Statistical improbability, David. Statistical improbability. And This is not to make excuses for a loss here. This is because it does not add up with any other metric that we have exactly seen on the ground or in the electoral map itself in places like Ohio. Looking at the shift in Ohio, there's no reason to fraud Ohio because it's not going to be competitive. You look at all the red in Indiana, the red in rural Ohio, doesn't exactly add up in much of Michigan, in the same places. Trump improved in suburban Cleveland, but not in suburban Detroit. They're very similar. So what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Because something has to be going on. And we need answers because this is not how an election should be conducted. This is not.
My sister just texted me. She was like, "How long will it take?" I mean, nobody knows. This is not supposed to happen, like you were saying.
It's not supposed to happen. These are third world country style elections.
Everybody's freaking out. In the super chat from James says, "I heard that Biden got most popular votes of all time, exceeding Obama in 2008. The guy couldn't fill a green during the." I mean, and it's true. But my point is, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, he's so popular." It's like, no, it took 3 months.
Yes, exactly. I know.
It took them 3 months to get 71 million votes.
Wilmer Stevenson said, great analysis. I appreciate all you in DC have done. Yeah, by the way, go sub to DC. My co-host here. Link is in description. Go sub to him.
I'm so excited for all of this to be over.
Trump obviously struggled with women voters. Do you think Ivanka would have been a better candidate than most of the GOP? No. Cringe. No. Okay, we'll move forward here, but no, Ivanka, she's a liberal. That's ridiculous. I'd rather lose with principle than win with
someone who's a registered Democrat.
Yes, exactly. Well, not just registered Democrat, but liberal on pretty much everything possible. So, Georgia still. We're waiting on Georgia. But we'll have to see. Arizona's still waiting on Arizona. We're 10 minutes away. Maybe we'll get results, but maybe we won't. So I don't know. But either way, there's some good things Republicans have done. Down ballot, but Trump is the big deal here. So I don't know. It's definitely been a ride, and we're not giving up yet. We're not giving up yet. Not a chance. So every vote gets counted, every polling station gets investigated, then we can make that call. And that's the way it is. So,
Yes, and I think that there is some obviously good news that we've been talking about throughout the whole night, and the election is far from over. It is going to go to the courts, whether we like it or not. So I guess there's still a lot of news to cover, and the fact that it's been going on for more than 24 hours now is astonishing.
yes.
We started counting the votes yesterday at 6 o'clock. It's now 9 o'clock on
Yes.
EST.
Yes. And Pennsylvania, he has the lead still. Nothing new, 120,000 votes or so. We're still waiting on the results out of Georgia. That is the big deal because that's going to go down the wire. I don't expect, I don't know. We'll see. But this election is going to go down in history as a big mess either way. Not only were the polls abysmally off, and we've called them out on it, but the way the election was conducted, the way the votes are counted, it's the Iowa caucus, but for the that we saw earlier this year, but for the presidential election. I don't care that there's a pandemic. It doesn't matter. I'm sick and tired of hearing about a pandemic. You go to Walmart.
The CDC. Did you see the CDC reporting that you can go out and vote if you have COVID?
Yeah,
crazy.
And you can go to Walmart. You can go a lot of places, and why can't you go vote? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand anything that's going on right now. Mm-hmm. I don't, because it is ridiculous. And we'll wait and see, but we have to stay on the front lines here and fight what's coming. So, not physically, but metaphorically.
Metaphorically. I mean,
yes.
It'll be a physical challenge.
Yes, but we don't. For example,
we don't call for
we
violence.
don't call for it. We don't call for it. They're the ones that usually instigate.
Only in my Minecraft server. Okay, I'm gonna destroy Joe Biden in my Minecraft server. Is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. The results are coming in, but these again, Pennsylvania. Bad things are happening in Pennsylvania. Bad things are happening in Georgia. The fact that the votes come in and they stop counting. The votes come in and they stop counting. What is this? This is third world level stuff.
Mail-in ballots is a big fat recipe for fraud. I agree, Josh. You're totally
They exactly
right.
do.
And we're all forgetting right now during this conversation that what JP said in the chat right now, China won Biden. He's 100% correct.
Yes, exactly.
Joe Biden sold out to China. Joe Biden is a politician with money because of China.
Yes, and Trump should have made that. I mean, I'm not going to criticize Trump because, first of all, we don't know if he's lost, even if he has he lost fair and square or not. But I would have liked to see him criticize Biden a little bit more for the China thing. I would have told you the same thing 2 days ago. It's not, I'm not saying this is why I lost, but I would have, And the media is the media is complicit because even if these margins are legitimate and you look at the margins, they're the same ones that blame Comey for the Hillary loss, which I have grievances with. But if that is the case, and you look at that and you expect that to be the case, then you would have expected the Hunter stuff to move the needle because Biden's complicit in that.
Someone just super chatted asking, we need to keep the Senate odds 100%. We are.
It's already gone. The Senate's gone. We got the Senate. We're gaining in the House. Like I said, down ballot, we did extremely well, better than I could have ever expected. But at the same time, the presidential level is really what matters most. And that's the thing that's what we have to look into. So I'm impressed with some of the map that came in. Early on, it looked very good in Florida, very good in Texas.
3.5-point lead in Florida.
Yes, very impressive. Miami-Dade County, extremely impressive. You talk about the big cities and the suburbs. Trump did very well there, but nationwide, not so much. And by the way, exit polls didn't add up at all with the crosstabs, but at the same time, I don't really trust the exit polls, but they had seniors as the only demographic of age Trump won. Which is it's pretty funny. See,
and
Trump
seen
only won seniors.
I see other exit polls saying that seniors went to Biden by +7.
Well, there you go with and that doesn't add up with anything we saw in Florida. It doesn't.
No.
You could say about the Rust Belt, but the seniors in the Rust Belt carried Trump last time, and that's why it's even close this time. So I don't buy that. Seniors are stubborn people. Most seniors aren't afraid of COVID, and even if they are, it doesn't matter what Trump could do. Trump could personally infect most of his supporters with COVID, and a lot of them are still going to end up voting for him. That's just the way it goes. Same thing with the Democrats. That's how politically polarized we are right now.
Is Crowder in Detroit? No, I doubt it.
No, he lives in Austin. He lives in Austin now. He lives in Austin.
Unless he got on a plane in the last 8 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, and I wouldn't blame them. They got to get down there and fight the hell out of these results if they possibly can. Get everything possible. Make sure that there are investigations, recounts if necessary. Investigate how the ballots came in. Where are if you want election reform, you need to be counting the votes effectively and effectively fair. You're going to need somebody there with you, whether it's a Republican and a Democrat strategist, both monitoring the vote count, making sure it's efficient. Who counts the votes? There's an old saying, and a lot of people misattribute it to a certain Russian dictator, but there's really no proof that he ever said it. But there is a quote that says it's not who votes that matters, it's who counts the votes that matters. And when you have the whole establishment that's saying every criticism of voter fraud is false, even though we have proof of it, and in Detroit, consistently proof of voter fraud, cycle after cycle, and people are just complacent about it. No, there's no reason to be complacent about it. We need people on the ground, be involved in your community and make sure the ballots are coming in right. And they're coming in the way they should. And the whole mail-in votes, nonsense. I don't want to deal with mail-in ballots anymore. Problem waiting to happen. If you're old, you get someone in your family to deliver it for you. That's probably the best thing that could happen. But mail-in ballots, I'm not a fan of them. I don't care what you say about the fraud rates, but I'm not a fan of them. I'm not a fan of the vote counting system. Not a fan of it whatsoever. Even if Trump did lose fair and square, it's possible depending on the margins that we see in some of these states, something has to be changed here. And I think a lot of people know it. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Walsh on the Daily Wire, who I think is probably one of the better people that comes out of the Daily Wire, better than, never mind. He already made an article saying that, look, man, it's time to get rid of this. Matt Walsh says after this debacle, we should abolish early voting and mail-in voting. I completely agree. It is.
Yes, it is a disaster. It is a disaster. Absolutely. So we'll have to see. But either way, it's just incredible to see how things are just
shaping up here.
Yeah, things are shaping up to be a disaster.
How many hours of sleep did you get, Red?
Oh, I got roughly around 7 hours of sleep. Oh, nice. I did, but
I stayed up with Lalo way too late talking about Arizona.
Yeah, well, I mean, no results came in, so you wasted your time.
Hey, whoa!
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We do a little trolling. Yeah, we do a little trolling.
So, what do you got planned for the future?
In the channel?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Well, we're
waiting for results here first.
There's definitely going to be a lot of analysis about this election, but I don't want to sit here and bore you guys with it about it, because then I know you guys are going to lose interest. But eventually, we're going to get to talking about policy. Eventually, we're going to talk about how can we win the elections and what are the policies that Republican Party needs to take and why they should, and try to correct the way that the right has been moving, because you talk about conservatism as a whole, and we have not necessarily, I mean, Trump, the reason why Trump won is because that he was able to redefine conservatism to a certain extent. And instead of being the neocon party of the big business and the military complex, he's made it the party of the working man. He's made it the party of the little guy to a large extent. And he's still incorporated the good things of both sides, and he was able to be successful about it. That is outstanding. So here we go. Outstanding ballots from Georgia. DeKalb, around 53. Yeah, 53,000. Absentee out of Fulton, 74,000. Early 43,000. That doesn't add up. It does not add up.
Well, DeKalb County in bloody Georgia seems like it's, or in Fox News is reporting 100% in Fox, but you know how Fox is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, it is nerve wracking. I'm not happy about a lot of this.
I'm actually kind of at peace.
No, I'm not. I'm
good
yeah,
about
I'm not. No, but look, I'm not going to sit here and be upset if Biden won the election fair and square. I've done videos about the upsides of it, and you look at the gains in the Senate, and Biden's agenda that he's going to be able to enact is not necessarily. It's going to be dead in the water if we hold North Carolina's Senate race and Maine's. I wish that we would have held Michigan, but it was very, very close.
Yeah.
But we will see what happens. We will see what goes down. But either way, there's a lot of shady things that could be going on, and we want to make sure that our election system is fixed this point forward, because this cannot stand any longer. What's going on right now, I'm upset with the way the votes have come in. It's playing with people's emotions at home, regardless of what side they're on. And it reminds me of the Lions-Falcons game from 2017, where you have the 10-second runoff. It's the same exact thing, but the political version of it. I'm sick of it, and usually we're able to overcome it because Trump is a winner, unlike the Lions, which are terrible. But this cycle, it's been abysmal, and he's had everything against him, and he just falls short. Even with every single thing against him, he just falls short, and potentially there could be shady stuff. He could have actually won it outright, but we don't know. But we'll have to investigate. Like I said, investigate. Michigan, maybe it was a fraud-proof margin. Wisconsin, I don't know, but we'll see. But the Trump campaign's actually very convinced that they have a shot to win. I don't know about it.
Mm-hmm. In the House, this is the Hill reporting. House GOP celebrates unexpected gains. Because, I mean, a lot of the Republican insiders who don't know anything about America or anything about the American electorate were predicting to lose some seats because they're morons and they have no political game sense. So they're kind of shocked that they won, even though. And to be honest, they did better than I thought, right? Where are they at? I mean, I don't know. I predicted they'd get anywhere from 204 to 210 seats. And I know you were at
I was 2 at
right?
6. I did put 4 seats as sleeper flips. I'm gonna go back and look at my House prediction real quick. I put it on Twitter when I was done with it, and I did a video about it. And either way, let's see.
Because Republicans have officially flipped 6 seats. Or 8 seats.
Okay,
with a net gain of 6.
Okay, listen. 4 sleeper flips. Texas 23rd, Florida 26, Florida 27, and Oregon's 4th. 3 out of 4 Republican column. So already, the seats that I predicted wrong, I don't think I've predicted a single seat wrong so far, other than the couple that I had going blue. Georgia's 7th I had as Democrat, Lindy, which that was accurate. So, but looking at Iowa, it looks like we may pick up 2 seats in Iowa. Add those to the 3. That's 5. 206 plus 5 is 211. They still haven't called Arizona 6. That could be 212. We're still waiting on some California results, but if assuming that they hold the seats that I expect them to, 212 seats in the House. That could be roughly it. So. Either way,
97% of the vote is in DeKalb and New York Times, and Trump still leads.
So okay, so I don't know where that was coming from because the numbers did not add up to 122,000. But either way, in Georgia, Trump is up by, again, the same margin he was up by before. I could check Fox and see if Fox has an updated number because they've been on top of the numbers so far, except the state calls have been awful. Fox just shows votes coming in out of Loudoun's County. That's the only one that's not in according to Fox. But again,
all of Atlanta's in according to Fox.
Yeah, 38,000 votes. If again, depends on where the votes are coming from. If they're coming from red counties, then we're in pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to read this to you. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, it's fine.
But
Keep going. Keep going.
yeah, here's a tweet that just came out that somebody made, and they said ABC had Biden up 17, Fox had Biden up 12 in Michigan, CNN had Biden up 10 in Pennsylvania, NBC had Biden up 8 in North Carolina. I mean, like, just to kind of remind you guys that the polls were off by upwards of 10, 17 points. I mean, that's that is a 16-point margin of error right there. That is terrible for that Wisconsin poll. I just don't see how they do such. It's like I've been saying, it's malpractice. It's
malpractice,
so
and yes, it is malpractice. The polls in every state were off in favor. I mean, Trump, besides maybe Arizona, Georgia might be the only one. North Carolina, well, I think he's going to outperform. North Carolina and Georgia, those are the only two states the polls were even remotely accurate in. Georgia, I think they had going to Trump by 1. Right now, he's in the lead, but we'll have to wait and see. Either way, this is a mess. We're gonna have to fight this. That's it. We're gonna have to fight this, and maybe we'll come up short. But if you're Trump, these margins are close. The way that they're counting the votes is sketchy enough to the point where you have to. You don't have any other choice but to fight it. So we'll have to see.
Now, according to a national political correspondent for NBC News, Maricopa numbers went like this. Trump got 59% of the 74,000 new votes. So the results aren't out yet on New York Times or on Fox News. They haven't reported it yet. But if those are the numbers, I think that's pretty good for Trump getting 59%. I mean,
that's Maricopa. And keep in mind, how many votes were left in Maricopa County? That's 20% of the county. A fifth of the county is out there. That would probably net him another wouldn't that net him close to like 100,000 votes?
I don't know.
Because if that's, I mean,
right,
Arizona, they didn't add the totals, did they?
No, they haven't added the totals yet, is what I was saying. But I was just
someone said Arizona's moving. Okay, well, someone said miracle in Arizona. Well, we don't know. Let's see. I mean, Fox. It's not on Fox. Let's look at Decision Desk. I'm going to go to Decision Desk real quick. And we're gonna see what's on Decision Desk. Again, it's hard to navigate, but right now, Arizona. Again, I can't find anything about Arizona, so we'll see.
Lalo is giving the audience false hope.
Yeah. No, Maricopa. It shows. I mean, I don't know what's in or what's not in, but I don't know. It shows Biden up by, in Maricopa, he's up by 85,000 votes on Decision Desk. Right here, it's showing the same thing. So nothing has been updated. AP has been reported. So some people are saying Trump lost Arizona. Some people are saying Trump won Arizona. Yeah, AP. Presidential election. Let's see if we could find this.
There are a few media industry I respect as much as Steve Canoxy.
So we'll wait and see what happens on.
David Schreikart has pulled ahead on Arizona 6th, by the way.
Oh, he has.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maricopa incoming. That's all I've seen. 59-41, right on track to close the gap.
That's what I'm seeing right now is 59-41. This is Steve Kornacki at the NBC.
So, does NBC? Let me see if NBC News election.
Maricopa County dropped a round of votes. Looks like in AAC is what I just got messaged by Pump Eat.
Okay, well, let's see. I'm trying to see if NBC has it up. Arizona. I don't think they do. I don't think they've updated it at all. Some people are saying that the votes came in favorably for Trump. There was the lead change in Arizona 6th. You were right about that. From what I could tell, Schweikart is in the lead. He's expected to win. I would expect him to win. So we'll see. But try Politico. I see try Politico. Okay.
try them all, Red Eagle.
Yeah, well, we have to. We don't have a choice. We're gonna try them all. We're gonna see exactly what the deal is here. So, can't even find the map.
We're waiting for the Arizona result. Yeah, all of these people's websites suck except for the New York Times, in my opinion. Like, they don't have annoying websites to navigate.
All right, Politico. I don't think Politico is called. I think Politico called Arizona. I don't think anything is new in Arizona, though. Biden's still up by 85,000. 20% of the vote is left outstanding. So nothing new out of Arizona. But there was a lead change, though. That was kind of weird.
Biden lead dipped by 14,000 is what someone said in the chat.
Okay, well...
But that's someone in the chat, so I don't know.
Yes. But I mean, if that is the case, let's see. Biden's lead in the state, he leads by around 100, or at least by, I mean, there might have been a drop. Maricopa, but barely any of it came in. So we'll have to see. But barely any of Maricopa came in. It's a 5-point lead.
Order me a skull mask. Okay, anyways, guys.
What?
The top result is Japanese tiger mask.
What's going on over there? I don't know. Interesting. Maricopa's still at 85,000. So maybe there was a little bit of a vote dump in Maricopa, but it wasn't really enough at all. Pima's almost in. Pima's 90% in. Someone said Fox updated 2%. So let's see here. General results on Fox, Arizona. Okay, so out of Arizona, there's nothing's new out of Arizona on Fox. It's the same. So we'll wait and see on New York Times for it to come in. But Trump did gain a little bit in Arizona. That is expected. 600,000 votes are still outstanding, David. 600,000. So, I mean, take it what you will, but you still have a lot of votes here.
That is very cool.
that are still outstanding.
Thank you, Kanye. I can't believe Kanye had to concede.
Wait, Kanye? Yeah, wait. Is Kanye even on the ballot in Arizona?
No, I don't think he is. I think he's in the ballot in like these really obscure places. Maricopa County, 74,000 ballots. It went 57 to 40 Trump to Biden. President nets 12,000 votes, a bit below the 14,000 projection, but good progress for the president. That's from Data Orbital. I trust them. Data Orbital.
Yeah, they are relatively left. It's a smaller account, but they are relatively left. So that has to be fairly. I mean, that's better news. Biden's up by 79,000. 14% of the vote is left. So we're waiting on the votes to come in out of Arizona. This is definitely the state to watch at the moment. If Trump has any shot at winning, he's going to make Fox News look like a fool in the process. So
Fox News has already made themselves look foolish tonight. That is, or today, or this month.
Yeah. But the vote in Prescott is all out. It's all in. Trump is doing roughly his 2016 margin in Prescott. He's doing better in Santa Cruz. He's doing much better in Yuma. Again, the Latino vote is a big bright spot for him tonight. Not tonight, but in this election. Of all of the nights that we're here counting, definitely there's still some more ballots in Pinal that will help Trump. There's still some more ballots in Maricopa. So either way, it's definitely looking and shaping up to be something that could go down the wire. Now the lead for Biden has been cut. Now it's 2.8%, 14% left to go. So
very exciting, very cool.
Yes.
I mean, this is like the first good news we're receiving in a little while.
Well,
other than the fact that Georgia's getting closer.
That's
on the presidential level. On the presidential level, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying that we knew it was going to happen. Georgia's not really, and that's not favorable to us. It's really not.
No,
Not at all.
Well, how much of the vote is left? Decision Desk says less than 99. Fox News says 98% reporting. New York Times is still at 95. But I mean, if Decision Desk and Fox News are correct about it being only 1 to 2% of the vote being left in Georgia,
and yeah, McSally's now losing by a lean margin, which is what I expected. Better. So another prediction come true for Red Eagle Politics. Yet again, most people said likely. I said lean. It has been lean. And we still have a lot of votes left to count in Maricopa. That needle didn't move much. It only moved 2%, and you already saw a big dip in Biden's lead. Now, across statewide, Biden has a lead of 79,000. So,
Arizona Secretary of State Katie Hobbs tells CNN that of the outstanding Arizona ballots, there are 340,000 in Maricopa, 46,000 in Pima, 18,000 in Yuma, 13,000 in Coconino, and less than 1,000 in La Paz.
There's ballots outstanding in Pinal as well.
Okay.
According to this. So we'll have to see. So they're updating. They're updating as the results do come in. Again, looking at Jorgensen, no Green Party on the ballot. Jorgensen could be spoiling Trump in a place like Arizona. That 1.4%, I would watch that. If Biden is below 50 at the end of the night, then Biden can potentially thank Jorgensen for helping him get there. Either way, I don't like the third parties. I would prefer that if you would have them, you would have all of the parties be on every single ballot in every single state. But, I mean, we need election reform in this country either way. There's really no doubt about it. So, we'll monitor Arizona. Either way, it's going to go down the wire for sure. And we're waiting. Nevada, we're not getting anything until Thursday at noon. So that's 2 days from now. Noon Eastern on Thursday, we'll get Nevada. Democrats probably feel confident in Nevada. I don't know why they're dragging it out for so long. Pennsylvania, here's a state where Trump currently leads by 200 and it looks like about 193,000 votes with 12% reporting that's left outstanding. Now, North Carolina, Georgia, he's probably going to win North Carolina. Thursday's tomorrow. Okay, well, that's okay. Really just shows you what lack of sleep that we're operating on here. Tomorrow is Thursday. It's not Tuesday.
Well, I mean, it's been so the time has been so compressed. I feel like
yes,
it is still
exactly.
Because,
that's where it came from. So,
70,000 outside.
Yeah, and we're still waiting. Hopefully, they will be counting everything in Georgia soon. They're trying to. Perhaps tomorrow morning they'll get it done and finalized, so we'll have to see. Either way, there could be a recount in the state of Georgia. Now, looking at... I don't know if Fox has anything new out of Georgia. Trump still leads by 38,000 votes. Out of Arizona, Biden, again, still leads by 79,000 votes with 14% reporting. There's still a couple 100,000 votes that are out there. Donald Trump can make up that margin if they are splitting the way that they split so far in Maricopa, but there are a lot more votes that are left out there, so we'll have to wait and see.
So the last hour, the Fox News Decision Desk said Trump would get 45% of the outstanding Arizona vote, but in this last drop, we're saying that he got like 57, right?
Yeah.
So obviously Fox News was wrong thus far. So rough.
Yes.
Arizona's going to be close, guys. Arizona's going to be close.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But we're gonna have to wait and see. There's still are ballots that are out. I don't know what Fox is coming up with when they say this because they've been wrong so far twice about Arizona, and it looks like we'll have to wait and see if they're wrong again. I don't really know if Biden's going to win Maricopa County by 5%. But if you look at the trends in places like Waukesha, it's not looking promising, but we'll have to see. Either way.
So we got Dustin on the line because I got to dip out for a couple of minutes here.
All right.
So Dustin, one of our data analysts who does models a lot, is here. So I guess you guys can talk about that.
So
I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, for sure. So Dustin, how's it looking out of Arizona? Where apparently a couple percentage points came in. Trump, again, the lead went down. Now it's at Biden by 2.8%. And Georgia, Trump has to win 65% of the outstanding vote, or Biden has to win 65% of the outstanding vote to win Georgia. What's the deal with where is Arizona right now?
So Arizona is fairly difficult in the sense that there's not a whole lot of votes remaining, but the saving grace for Trump is that it seems that the votes that are remaining are in his favor. So he's getting 65, 60, 62% of those votes. So if he's breaking 60-40 or 62-35, whatever, it could be a good situation for him.
Yeah.
He needs Arizona. I don't see a path at this point other than some miraculous overturning of quote-unquote fraud in Wisconsin or Michigan.
Or Nevada. He could win Nevada.
Or Nevada. He could win Nevada, but he needs Arizona.
Yes.
He needs it. And the reason why I say Arizona is it's pretty clear that I know we don't have all the information out of Nevada, but it's pretty clear that, Arizona probably would have the more favorable votes for him remaining. It would seem that the votes that are remaining in Nevada are from Clark County, where it's, it was a little closer in this election than in 2016 in that particular county, but it's still a Biden county. So I would feel more confident about Arizona. Pennsylvania is going to be close, and it's narrowing by the second as they bring in votes. But I'm cautiously optimistic about Trump winning the state. I think his margin's too big, and at this point, unless they pull Wisconsin and figure a way to get 90% of the registered voters to vote somehow, I don't think that there's enough registered voters in Texas to make up the margin that Biden would need to win the election. So I feel good about Pennsylvania, and lastly, Georgia. Georgia was a state that earlier today I was super confident in. I believe my model gave Trump an 89 to 91% chance of winning, but new votes came in out of DeKalb County, and it's not looking good. I think Trump's going to eke it out, but it may come to recount territory.
Yes.
So
what percentage? Before the recount, what percentage of the vote, or what percentage chance does Trump have right now at Georgia? Even if it does come to a recount, does he have a chance at least leading the state, or what's the deal? Within a couple thousand votes or so.
So I haven't run the model since 5 p.m. So there have been more votes that have come in. It's difficult to say. I mean, I based on trends and knowing how the model works, I would say that Trump still probably has a 65 to 75% chance of winning the state. It's certainly not doom and gloom for the state. And if you're a Trumper or for the Trump campaign, at the same time, we discussed it. You discussed it. The whole thing with these early votes is it's just so easy to. It's so easy to fraud this, and I'm not saying that there is fraud. There's evidence in some states I would like to see, or I think we saw on social media, but man, if they're gonna do it, it's just so easy to do it, and that's the problem that I'm seeing right now.
Yeah. It's definitely, we'll look into it when it happens. I'm sure you're probably very confident about North Carolina. I would assume. North Carolina is probably going to go in Donald Trump's column. Arizona,
Yeah.
cautiously optimistic that it could get closer. Maybe Nevada, but Pennsylvania, he needs to sweep what he's got on the table right now, and we'll really just have to wait and see. But either way, everyone in chat saying something happened with Project Veritas. I did want to look into that and see exactly what it was. There was some mail fraud thing where they got. It looks like they were putting the mail-in ballots received. I don't know what this is actually referring to. So they're putting them with the date, the prior date. So they're adding votes that shouldn't be counted somewhere in Traverse City, Michigan. I don't know how many votes that affected, but again,
Right.
there's a lot of shady, sketchy things that are going on right now. And this is up to us to get to the bottom of it and to see exactly what's going on. So either
Yeah.
way.
And let me just say this, and I know that there's already been discussion with this in mind, but this is not a Republican or Democrat issue. If there's indeed fraud taking place, that is an indictment on democracy. That's an indictment on what it means to what this country means, what it means to be an American. You know, the basic right that we have as Americans is the right to vote, the right to have a say, the right to have a voice. And every American that registers to vote has that opportunity. It is one vote for one American, and that's so vital to who we are. You know, that framework is what gave us the likes of George Washington, the likes of Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
Big
Um,
base.
And
I don't know
if
what
we're
he's
gonna-
going on about, but I like it.
If
No,
we're gonna
yeah,
see if we're going to see a violation of our democracy, whether you call yourself a Democrat, whether you call yourself a Republican, this should upset you. This is not a partisan issue.
Well, they
This
don't
is a
see it that way.
bipartisan
They
issue.
don't see it that way. They
I
see
know
it
they
as
don't.
yeah. They're looking at this and they're laughing and then they're saying that you're just losing or whatever. They're going to ignore it. They like to repeat the same talking points about how voter fraud is rare because there's no proven cases of it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exactly happen. There have been many speculative cases about it. Nobody decides to do anything about it. Look at Minnesota. The Senate race in 2008 was stolen blatantly. There are plenty of cases in the past. In some cases, Republicans have been at the forefront of it too. So again, you look at what's going on in Pennsylvania and the way they're counting the ballots. It's not a fair assessment of how it should go down, especially in America. You talk about American exceptionalism. We're known for being a first world nation. This is third world level territory here. How long
Exactly.
it's taking to count the ballots. You see this in Russia. You don't see this in the United States. So either way, it's ridiculous. So
Yeah, so we're seeing the math. More and more people are talking about the math we're seeing out of Arizona as a positive indicator for Donald Trump. So that's good.
well, yeah. We still have 14% left. I really
Hasn't really budged much.
okay. Well, here's the deal. Another results update after 1 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, followed by an update after 9 p.m. Eastern. So I don't know what they're going on about. I think that they're really just taking a long time to count the votes, even in Arizona. Doesn't make sense. This is not the election system that of a country with efficient democracy or constitutional republic has. That is the bottom line here. It should not take this long. You saw it in the Iowa caucuses for the Democrats. That was abysmal. You're seeing it,
It appears that
now as well.
Yes, the Iowa caucuses is something that we all need to remember how bad it was, How
Yeah.
terrible.
And you talk about Iowa, well, the Democrats kind of ruined their brand there. I did say that at that moment I thought Iowa was going to go red. Iowa has gone red. Donald Trump is in the lead by 140,000 votes right now, with 8% still left outstanding. And he's expanded that lead. He's almost up 9 points right now. So we'll have to see. But either way,
The best news out of the night, in my opinion, is Justin Amash is no longer in Congress. So
well,
that's cool.
he wasn't running for re-election in the first place, so I don't really mean it. I mean, at least he's replaced with a Republican, Peter Meyer, which,
Yeah.
again, he was probably going to win. I mean, he's Meyer grocery chain, very popular in the Midwest, so doesn't really surprise me. But either way, I think that in terms of the stream here, if that's all we're going to get, we may just have to end. Because we're just going to sit here and look at the results, and we've already talked at length about them. So I
any more
think
super chats there?
I think that we have a couple more. I did want to get to the super chats, and then we could end the stream. Let's see here. Sam Madsen said, "Were suburban women energized by abortion or social issues potentially? What the hell happened?" I don't agree with that take. I don't think abortion was the biggest issue of this election. I don't think that ACB moved the needle at all. And I think that suburban women, I mean, they voted for the Republican Party for many, many years. A lot of times the Republican Party has been, more pro-abortion or more pro-life then than it is now, you could say. So I really don't think that that's what energized them. Social issues, potentially. The wokeness that's taking over a lot of the elitist culture, that is an issue for the Republicans in a lot of these suburban areas. Definitely Biden. As for Biden cannibalizing the third-party vote, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to do a deep dive analysis about that. But I would assume it's breaking relatively even, but there's going to be some vote switching as well and some other people that are new voters. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. So we'll see. Bro Caro says, check Zapata County, Texas hasn't gone Republican since 1920. Starr County trended 55 points to the right. So much for the Doomers. That's incredible.
Yeah, we've talked about Southern Texas and how it has trended because of the Hispanic vote in there, yeah.
Zapata County, it's red. Zapata County is red.
Wow.
And they're still 16% reporting, but these are counties that are in the 90s of Hispanics. So ultimately, you can see what's going on. So everyone